Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So yesterday we had a headline or news from Citigroup, the Wall Street bank, which actually I worked for a few years back in the 90s. They came out and said that UK inflation to hit 18.6% by the end of the year. Well, what they meant really is the CPI is going to hit 18.6%. I don't think the RPI, which was the measure used back in the 70s, ever hit that kind of level. And the RPI is still around, and you can bet the RPI will be above 20%. So what this means is that your currency, the currency in your pocket, the pound notes, the coins, or the digital entries, they're burning, they're losing value at a rate of knots. And that's what I want to talk about today, because what's the only insurance for loss of purchasing power? Well, it's money or even currency, non-fiat currency, that has held its purchasing power for thousands of years. And that, of course, is gold and silver, not anything else, not any other paper currency, not the paper dollar. The paper dollar is going the same way of all the other fiat currencies. Eventually, they go to zero. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before I start, I like to say that many of you leave very nice messages about how I've helped you with my videos for years, or maybe you've just started watching me. But the other thing I would say is that I never thought I'd have so many contacts, so many people communicating with me and doing what I do on YouTube, and I've been doing it since late 2015. It's opened a lot of avenues, and I never thought I'd be here doing what I do. And it's, as one of the viewers, long-term viewers, Graham Hobbs says, it's a community. And that's the most important thing, I would say. And yes, keep writing messages, keep sending me messages. If you want to have a closer contact with me, of course, you can do it through Patreon for just as little as $1 a month, or you can try to catch my attention during the live stream or in the comment section. I try to read the comments as much as possible. And I say again, anyone that looks like me, they've taken my thumbnail and gives out a WhatsApp number, ignore them, report them, because they're bots. So with that, let's go back to currency debasement, because that's what we're seeing. The inflation, of course, has been happening. The fiat money or fiat currency inflation has been happening since 1971. What we're seeing now, of course, is the final, I think, step in the collapse of all fiat currencies. It's the first time in the history of money, really, that we've had the major reserve currency not be as good as gold. The period since 1971 is an anomaly. It's a small period in a timeline that's much bigger, and that's why I think gold will be back. Unlike the FT thought back in 2004 when they wrote this editorial. They didn't put a name to it. They didn't put anyone's name to it. It was just from the editorial section, going gold. I've spoken about this many times. And at the time, gold was at $400 an ounce. And that's what I'm trying to tell you here. Yes, we've become, even I have, I'm victim to being concerned about the fiat price of gold in dollars, pounds, or whatever. But I think that's a distraction as well, because if fiat currencies are going to zero, if our pound is going to be devalued by 20% in 1 year, do really have to worry about how much of those dying currencies we get for an ounce of gold? If we know the end game is going to be that they're going to die completely, I would say, no, we don't have to worry about it. And that's why I say that gold is insurance against loss of purchasing power. And the other thing I would say, gold and silver have never defaulted. So I'm going to give you an example here. I have a tetradrachma, which is 4 drachma. And this is from over 2,300 years ago. It's you've got Alexander the Great. There you go. It's a Greek coin. And I bought this, by the way, last year. It wasn't cheap. I think I paid 250 pounds for it. Don't know how much it's worth now. It's not, as I said, you see, I'm victim to the what is it worth in fiat currency, right? But a little bit about the tetradrachma. And Alexander the Great, he was in power. Let's see. He was on the throne. 336 BC. And he died in 323 BC. In Babylon, he died in Babylon, which is interesting. We have a Babylonian monetary system. So Alexander the Great. So Wikipedia says that tetradrachma was a large silver coin that originated in ancient Greece. It was nominally equivalent to 4 drachma. Tetra, of course, means 4. Over the time, the tetradrachma became effectively the standard coin of the antiquity. So there you go, silver. And a couple more examples of why gold and silver, they stand the test of time. They not only not default, but they survive fall of empires, fall of emperors. So here I've got a 10 ruble gold coin from 1899. So there you go, Tsar Nicholas, and a 10 ruble coin that survived the Bolsheviks. It survived World War I, World War II. It's going to survive the war in the Ukraine. But the ruble, the paper ruble, might not, even though it's fairly strong right now. And the same thing goes for the German Empire. There you go. We've got the Kaiser here, Kaiser Wilhelm. And this is what? Let's see. This is 20 marks. So there you go. And that's what I mean. And that's why I think we need to, basically realize that, yes, some people are going to be caught, how can I say, short. They're going to be caught short real money when everything burns. And what do I mean by that? Well, they're going to be trading the paper gold, and they're going to be worrying about shorting it here, buying it here. And it will become meaningless, really, because it's like being a paper gold trader in Venezuela in 2017, 2018, or being a paper gold trader in Zimbabwe. It's irrelevant. And this is the way we're going. And I have another symptom here of currency collapse for the UK, aside from Citibank seeing CPI up at almost 20%. And this one is to do with the functioning of the state, because the state, of course, has monopoly over the currency right now, the fiat currency. And when the mechanisms of the state fail, that currency will fail as well. And we're seeing a lot of strikes, of course, industrial strikes, rail strikes. And now we're seeing barristers strikes in the UK. So, and barristers are, of course, It's different. In the US, they call everyone a lawyer. A barrister is someone who goes to court to be an advocate for people who are brought into court for committing crimes, or for people who have been victims of crime as well. So barristers, they're the ones who represent. They are the advocates. So the Daily Mail is saying here, victims will suffer from irresponsible barristers' strike. Commissioner warns walkout will see more criminals walking the streets as child rape victims face a 5-year wait for justice. Criminal barristers in England and Wales have voted in favor of an all-out strike. Strike is a last resort action, said an activist from the Criminal Bar Association. Kirsty Brimlow QC said it will cost the government more if courts sit empty. Victims Commissioner Dame Vera Baird says victims will suffer waiting for trials. And I think the strike will start on September 5th. And it says it's an indefinite strike. I think they're asking for 15%. They were given, I think, a 15, or actually they were offered 15%, but they refused a pay rise. So it looks like the barristers know what the real debasement of the currency is, that it's not just 15%. But that, in my opinion, is one of the symptoms of a dying currency. And unfortunately, dying fiat currency creates all kind of havoc in society. And why is that? Well, because half of all transactions, commercial transactions, be it purchasing goods and services, being an employee, being a company, half of all those transactions are done with currency. And if the currency is really unstable, life becomes unstable. People's psychology changes. Nothing is certain. And I think that's why we're seeing all the things that we're seeing now that we haven't seen in the past. And it's not something new. It's something that I experienced and that I saw firsthand when I was a child and a teenager growing up in Brazil. And it's not the end of the world, but it's very disruptive. So there you go. That's what I wanted to talk about today. With that, let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:23 a.m. London time. So we've got spot gold at 1736.50. That's unchanged. High's been 1741, the low 1734. So a relatively narrow range overnight. Silver's trading just below 19. It's down about 2 cents at 18.96. High's been 19.10. The low bit has been 85. The stock market, the Dow futures is unchanged. NASDAQ is unchanged as well. S&P is unchanged, which is weird. We saw big drops, of course, in the markets yesterday. We saw continuing rise in yields, not just in the UK and Europe, but also in the US. So the FTSE 100 index is down 0.5%, just below 7,500. Eurostoxx 50 is unchanged. So to the currencies, yes, the dollar is looking very strong, but as I've said, it's the best of a bad bunch. It is at the base of this currency system that we have, and we've had since 1944, since the Bretton Woods Agreement. Yes, it has changed significantly since 1971, but it's still the base. It's still what people see as a safe haven. But it's also going to go. Don't be misled into thinking that the dollar is any good, any better than other fiat currencies. So yeah, the pound is continuing to drop. We're now at 117.50. It's down about 0.2. The key level here is going to be around 114. That was the low back in March 2020. The euro, of course, has dropped through a dollar. So a euro now is only buying 99.15 cents. It's down a quarter of a percent overnight, the euro. The dollar is down versus the yen, though. It's down a quarter of a percent at 137.18. The dollar is unchanged versus the Swiss franc at 96.50. And the dollar is up slightly versus the yuan at 6.88. Check the dollar versus the ruble. Yeah, the dollar is down about 1.5%, trading at 59 versus the ruble. To the other currencies now, we've got the Aussie dollar down a tenth at 68.68. The dollar is down 0.2 versus the Canadian dollar at 130.32. And the Kiwi dollar is unchanged at 61.69. And now we're going to check the general commodities. We're going to start with the Dutch nat gas futures. Yeah, that's probably going to approach 300 very soon. We're up 3.3%. at 286, no let up in the natural gas market. WTI crude rebounding as well, up 1.4% at 91.50. Brent crude is up just over 1% at 97. I think I saw a headline or a story, I didn't read it, that OPEC is thinking of limiting supply because they're concerned about the falling prices that they've had. So it looks like, the relief might be over for the price of crude oil, in terms relief for the consumer, that is. High-grade copper is up slightly at 365. U.S. nat gas is up 2.6% at 991, so very close to 10. This is a multi-year high for natural gas. If I'm not mistaken, the all-time high is somewhere around 12 or 14. I'm not too sure about the exact number. So let's look at the bond market to finish off. Well, we got the 10-year yield is down just over 3 basis points, trading exactly at 3% right now. The 2-year is down 3 as well at 3.31. So the curve inverted by 31 basis points. We saw yesterday the gilt yields continue to rise, so selling of gilts continuing. We got up above 250. I think the key level here is going to be 270. Right now it's trading at 251, right near the highs of yesterday of 252, I think. And I saw a headline this morning. It's from the Times. I don't really subscribe to it, but it popped up on my computer on the Apple News thing that Liz Truss is gonna backtrack on what she said over the weekend, that she was gonna give handouts. Maybe they're watching the bond market and they said, well, you need to backtrack on that. Who knows? It's all very uncertain, and I think we still need to keep a very close eye on the bond markets and bond yields. And if you want to know more about what the rising yields mean, check out my community tab on YouTube. I posted a video there, the interview I did last night with Elijah K. Johnson of Liberty and Finance. I'm going to put it up in the cards as well. I did a 30-minute interview with him. It was actually a live stream. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet. And with that, I wish you all a great rest of the day. Take care. Bye.